What's up, guys? Welcome to Life Knowledge. My name is Justin Alphabet. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. Stay to the end of the video so you get all the information that you need. Today we're going to be talking about how to travel the world with almost no money. So you want to travel the world and you don't have a lot of money. I have some tips and tricks to help you guys to travel the world for cheap and not a lot of money. So first off, we'll start by talking about how traveling can cost less than you think it does. Most people think that, to travel you have to have extravagant and copious amounts of money, and the truth is that you don't. A lot of countries outside of the United States have monetary systems that are less in value than the dollar. And so that means that when you have dollars and you translate them to pesos or rubles or the other currencies, your dollar is worth more. So like, for example, if you have $1, it'll multiply itself into basically $2 or whatever, right? When you go to another country. And so you kind of make money when you go to other countries, essentially. So food costs less, living costs less, fun activities cost less, right? And there are 4 parts to traveling. There's food, shelter, travel, and fun. And so there's the food, which is, whatever you want to eat. That can be street food, that can be whatever it might be. The way that I make sure that it's cheap is I pre-plan my trips in advance. Say I'm going for a 7-day trip to Korea or something like that. I would essentially look where I want to go and go look at the cities where I want to go and where I'm going to be. And I would pin them on Google Maps and save those maps, pre-download the maps, because you can do that on Google Maps. You can download the map beforehand in case you don't have internet or service. And then I would put down like some restaurants or some places that I might want to try out. One tradition that I have is I'd like to try out all the different types of McDonald's in different countries because they all have slightly different menus, and it's kind of fun to see how they're different because McDonald's is everywhere. I'm not sponsored by them also, just so you know. The second thing we have is shelter, which can be hotels, hostels, Airbnbs, anything of that nature. Pre-planning that in advance is great as well. The sooner you book it in advance, the cheaper it typically is. And so plan that first after you get your flight booked or whatever it might be, or your bus or whatever transportation you're taking to get to your location, your final destination for your vacation or your travel. Then we have the travel, which is flights, buses, cars, rentals, Ubers, Lyft, those kind of things. Some of them you do have to pre-plan, others you don't. If I'm going on a 7-day trip, I make sure that my flight is, in the first day, and that it's as early as possible so I can spend as much time in the country as possible. A way to get cheaper flights is you can Google flight deals and stuff like that, or flight deals software. I use a couple of them. Shout out to Scotch Cheap Flights. I'm not sponsored by them, but I do use them for my personal use. They help me to find cheaper flights all the time. There's Skyscanner, Momondo, a couple other ones as well, Kayak, things like that. Those and Kayak is really good as well to help you find cheap flights. There's lots of different things you can do as well for that. You can use credit card points to make things cheaper. Let's say you're buying groceries and you every time you swipe your card, you get points back. You can use those points towards flights if it's a flight deal card, like American Airlines or Delta or one of those, flight companies. American Express cards are really good for that as well, as what I've heard. If you'd like more information on that, you can comment below, and I can do more videos about that as well. So we have food, hotel or shelter, and transportation, and fun. Fun is the most important part of a vacation or holiday or travel. And so finding out things to do for fun that you want to do Sometimes it can be free, sometimes it can cost, sometimes there's hidden expenses. So like seeing things like the Coliseum, to go inside, they might charge something, on certain days of the year or certain times. And so going to the websites and checking up on these places, these touristic places in advance, helps you save more money, so that you know when it's going to be more expensive or if it's going to cost at all. Pre-planning is a lot of what it takes for traveling, but it's all worth it. Doing the pre-preparation helps a ton, saves you a lot of money, saves you a lot of time and effort also in the future, and you get to see and do cool things as well. Say, for example, I wanted to go to Costa Rica, and I wanted to make it as cheap as possible. First, I would, find the flight, book the flight. The best way to make sure that it's going to be cheap is to go when other people are not going. So like, there's peak seasons and there's non-peak seasons, and deal people like Scotch Cheap Flights, they essentially send you deals when it's going to be cheapest, or when you should book like a mistake fare, where like the people who type in the numbers to put in like $200 round trip flight, they put in like $100 on accident or something like that. Those are mistake fares, and you can get those for even cheaper until like they fix it and they change the flight amount. Sometimes you can catch those, but they alert you for those kind of things as well. Those are time sensitive, so you got to jump on those, because flights book up fast these days, because people want to travel and they want to travel cheap, and so people are booking flights way in advance. So it's good to have cash on hand and money on hand at all times to make sure you're traveling, or for traveling, because if you want to make travel a priority in your life, you have to make it a priority in your life. You have to just start, saving and having money set aside and just being prepared. You can also use things like, what is that called? Never mind, cut that. But anyways, you can put it on a credit card too, or other things like that. The last thing I wanted to mention is that the flight is probably the most expensive part. Second would be hotel. Third, fun, and fourth was food. So making sure that you have a cheap flight is 90% of it. If I wanted to go to Costa Rica and I got like a $200 flight, then while I was there, I would probably only spend maximum amount of probably $500. So that's $700 total for a full week's trip to Costa Rica, right? That's a great deal. It's an easy, cheap trip. And if you guys want more information on how I did that myself, you can comment below. Thank you for watching. I hope you have the day you deserve. Let's level up, and I'll see you in the next one.